welcome back to Sprite Guard Plays Umihara Kawase. I'd taken this out of my rotation for a while because I thought it wasn't very professional, but I realized that where I'm at right now and the kind of channel that I have, there's not really that much risk in playing this game. I don't really need to be that professional yet. And I'm still trying to figure out sort of how the culture around gaming videos works. Still getting used to a lot of it. So there's going to be a lot of growing pains, but this game at least is going to come back for one episode, because I've been asked to talk about something that is pretty difficult for me to talk about, and so I wanted to make sure I was playing my very favorite game while I talked about it. And so here we are, and I am really fumbling this jump that I was just making a few minutes ago when I did. I've actually done a few versions of this already, because it's a pretty difficult topic, and I want to make sure I get it right. Because normally I try to be really positive on this channel, and I really try to create the kind of culture that I want to see in gaming. That playing the game is a source of joy that we should share with each other. And I really believe that games should be, in every way, a source of joy in the community and for individuals. And so that's the kind of world that I'm trying to create with these videos. And I don't always do a great job of it, but that's my goal, that's my intention, and I would really like help from you if you think that I'm not doing that, if you think that I am not presenting games in the way that I want, if I'm not creating the kind of culture that I think we need to create, let me know. Because I'm doing the best that I can, but I'm only one person. I can only see from my very limited viewpoint. And there are some things going on in the gaming world right now that there's a lot of complicated emotions going on, and there's a lot of misinformation. And I've tried to inform myself as much as I can, but I have such a limited viewpoint that I'm not able to give you any kind of facts. I'm not able to give you any kind of closure about what is it that's going on in the gaming community right now. I've read so much, and I still don't know what's going on. I still don't know. What I do know is that people are being harassed, and there are very intensive, organized campaigns of harassment against a lot of people, most of them women, a lot of developers, a lot of journalists. People have been driven from their homes, people have been driven out of the industry entirely, and my heart really goes out to them. Before anything else, these people do not deserve what they've been getting. Nobody deserves that. Even if this campaign against them, even if every single thing that was said about them is true, they still wouldn't deserve that. And it's not true. And they still don't deserve that. We need to treat each other better. But games are going through a very difficult growing phase right now. And we are already kind of in a place where we're known for not really being good at being a community. One thing that I very, very often hear when people discuss different games is, oh, it's a great game, but the community is so toxic. I hear that over and over again. And so I have been through this kind of growing pain in a few other communities, and it has always been difficult. But I think that because of the way that our industry is, because of the way that we've historically interacted with each other, it's harder for us than it has been for other communities. And there's a lot going on, and I can't explain all of it, partly because I don't entirely know what's going on, partly because I know that my knowledge is limited, that no matter how much I know, there's always more that I don't know, and I don't want to spread misinformation. There has been a lot of misinformation spread recently, and I don't want to contribute to that. And so I want to focus on what I do know. What I do know is that we're going through a period of rapid democratization, where what was originally a very niche hobby that was very difficult to get into, that was a very small industry, is now very, very large. It's easier to make a game than it has ever been before, and it's easier to publish a game than it has ever been before. And every time that this has happened, there's been a period of pain. I saw it happen in the comics world, and I saw it happen in the literature world. And it was a painful process, and I saw a lot of the same things happen each time. And so I know that we can get through this. I know that we can grow past this. I've seen it happen. I know that there's this period of pain that we go through, and that we're going to have certain conversations, but that we will come out of this stronger, we will come out of this richer, and we'll come out of this with a better reflection of the world at large. Every time I've seen an art go through a process of rapid democratization, what I've seen happen is basically what's happening now, is you have a lot of people entering the field who don't have much experience. And you have a lot of people entering the field who are not very much like the people who were in the field to begin with. And you have a lot of people entering the field who have different interests than were previously being served. And so you have a lot of art that starts coming out that is very alien to the people who were the early adopters of the art, and can seem very confronting and very unappealing. But at the same time, you also have a lot of people entering the field who are not very skilled, and because it becomes much easier to publish, you do get a lot of low-quality work. And so there becomes this confusion between a bunch of things happening all at once, where you get a bunch of very low-quality work, and a bunch of high-quality work that serves different interests at the same time. And people have a very difficult time separating those, and so people get very upset, and in this case it has turned into something outrageous. And I mean, an outrage, as people are treating each other very badly. And I know that we can move past this. I have seen other communities move past this. It is possible. We just need to realize that this isn't going to hurt us, that the games that we love are still being made, no matter who you are. If you're a Call of Duty fan, Call of Duty games are still being made. you're still going to get your games. And if you're a Skyrim fan, if you're an Elder Scrolls fan, Elder Scrolls games will continue to be made. If you're like me, and you like strange little indie things, now is the best time, because strange indie things are everywhere. But there's a cost. It means we have to dig through a lot of lower quality works, a lot of works we're not interested in. Gradually, we're learning how to curate. And this has happened, I've seen this happen in every art. Very gradually, we learn how to reduce some of the overload, reduce some of the sense of being overwhelmed. The sense that there's too much stuff out there, and too much of it is not what we want. But something that we're seeing in the gaming world that I didn't see as much in other arts is this feeling of betrayal that some people who have really been following games journalism and consider them very deeply invested in the games hobby have felt betrayed by games journalists because they feel like the entire spectrum of who is a gamer has been changing very, very much. It's been getting much wider and involving a much larger part of humanity than it has in the past. And so people who have been very committed to the gaming identity for a very long time are sometimes feeling a bit left behind and feeling this betrayal of trust in seeing journalists start to recommend things and support things that they don't see as valuable because they don't serve their interests anymore. And so this pluralization of gaming is being taken very hard by some people, and it's being seen as a takeover by some people because we historically, both as a small hobby culture as gamers and also as a broader culture of people, I don't know how large this problem is, but it's a problem that I've noticed. It's a problem that I've noticed mostly on the internet, is what I should say. But not exclusively there, is this difficulty in distinguishing between something that is not our jam and something that is poorly made. A lot of people cannot make that distinction, and so they see journalists suddenly promoting things and praising things that to them are terrible. There was a game, let's see, a few years ago when I was in college called Passage, that was basically a very short meditation on mortality and the shortness of life. And for some people, myself included, it was a revelation. It was this slap in the face of reality that we hadn't ever really experienced in that way. And part of that is because of the incredible strength that games have to say, this is you. This person on the screen isn't just somebody. This is you. This is all happening to you. And so Passage was an incredible impact on us. And a lot of people really praised this game because of the way that it used the ability of games to say, this is you, in order to say something that had never really reached us in quite as direct a way. But a lot of people saw it as this short, stupid game where you don't do anything, and then you die. And I talked to one person who said, you know, this is something that I've known about and have been thinking about since I was 8 years old, and I can't believe that people haven't realized this before, that they haven't had this impacted into them before. But very intelligent people who I respect have been saying this, and so I'm inclined now to believe it's true. A lot of people, though, don't really have that sense of being able to step back and say, oh, these people actually seem really sincere in what they're saying. A lot of people are just saying, anyone who disagrees with me is either stupid or insincere. And that's an attitude that I see pretty frequently in the games world, and that I don't see challenged very often in the games world. But I feel like these little aspects of our culture have led to this very strong sense of betrayal, when in fact nothing has been betrayed. At least in the way that people are talking about it. Where the betrayal has been is been in the members of our community who have decided to take up this banner of harassment, or people who have said that the harassment's not okay, but still taken up this idea that was started by these harassers, that we've been betrayed by games journalists, and that there's this rift opening up in the gaming world of praise being heaped by people who are either stupid or insincere, or in some way that there's some kind of dishonesty, because there's this idea that I don't like this thing, so it must be bad. And that was a little bit reinforced by a lot of articles that reacted to the harassment by saying, in sometimes not very articulate ways, that the gaming world, that the gamer identity is being thrown open, that the tent is getting so much bigger, so much faster, that what was originally the idea that you got when you said the word gamer is no longer really meaningful to the games industry, because everybody plays games now. It's actually the largest demographic, I believe I read, was middle-aged women. And there's this sense in the kind of core gamer world of, I say that sometimes, and I'll have people say, oh, but they just play mobile games. Mobile games don't count. And so there's this sense among the core gaming demographic that these other games that are now more popular are in some way illegitimate. Some of these games are, in fact, being made and monetized in ways that are manipulative and don't always encourage the developers to make high-quality games. But again, then we get into the issue of where's the line between what's good and what I dislike. And especially when you see that these games are being taken up by people who really love them, and they're making the gaming world so much more diverse and so much more... They're making games something that everybody does instead of something that only a few people do. And I think that that's a really good change, but a lot of people are feeling left behind by it. And a lot of people are feeling betrayed by it. And I have some sympathy for that, but I've seen this, because I've seen this happen in other arts, I know that this is a good thing, that more and more people will be able to find the joy of gaming. And so, I think that our future is a bright one, but we're going through a very dark time now, and it's going to be very difficult, and it's going to continue to be difficult. We need to be good to each other, and we need to create a culture in which the kind of behavior that we're seeing, the kind of we're saying that other people who disagree with us are not legitimate. We need to get past that, and we need to really work on embracing all of the different ways of experiencing the joy of gaming. So I think our future's bright, and I think that we can move past this and become a much stronger community. And I hope that you agree. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Now more than ever before, I think it's important to have a dialogue about these things, because I know so little. And I've read so many contradictory things that I cannot say anything with any authority, except I've seen this happen before. I've never seen it happen as badly as it's happening now, but I've seen it resolved in ways that eventually can make us stronger. So thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.